Hi everybody, welcome to the show. This is Ingrid Kirzinger with the Positive Impact Project. Today I'm here with Marti Crain, who is a spiritual guide among other things. She's going to talk to us a little bit about what she does today, a little bit about her life. And if you have any questions, feel free to type those in. And if it is after the live feed, feel free to send in your questions and we will try to get that contact info for you as well. Welcome Marti to the show.
Thank you, Ingrid.
It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Well, we would love to hear a little bit about what you do.
Well, that's the magical question. On my spiritual side, I am an energy worker. I am a Reiki master, and I am a certified hypnotherapist, which I really enjoy working with people with the hypnotherapy. I am also a spiritual tour guide. I take people to the Casa in Brazil to visit John of God, the famous trance medium. And I'm also an author, of all things.
Wonderful. Well, it's nice you have so many different things that you have your fingers in, and I think that makes for a very balanced life. So tell us a little bit about, you did talk about a couple different things, but what started it all? Where did you get on this path, this train that you're on?
That's a good question, and this is really a funny story. I was practicing meditation every morning, and I did this at work. I would go to work early, and we had a balcony. I was on the 6th floor, and I would go out there before anybody came in, and I would sit and meditate. And it was beautiful because it helped me set the tone for the day. Well, one day I decided to ask Spirit, what do you want me to do? Because I'm happy at my job, but I'm not fulfilled. It was so different. I don't know how to explain. I knew there was something more for me.
Could feel it.
I could feel it, but I loved my work. So I sat down in meditation that morning and I said, okay, what is it you want me to do? And I got one word and it freaked me out. Hypnosis. And I went, no way. What? I don't understand. And it really frightened me because I thought hypnosis was a form of mind control. And I thought, that is the least thing I want to do. I have trouble controlling my own life. And I thought, I don't want to control others. Okay. But that's what I usually do with Spirit. I freak out, freeze up, and then I said, okay.
Let me get used to the idea.
Yes, let me explore this. So I said, okay, but I didn't know how this was going to happen. Well, within that week at work, I went into the coffee room, and there was a newspaper open to the classifieds, and I walked up and looked down, and there was a self-hypnosis class. And I went, okay.
The sign.
The sign is here. So I called immediately, signed up for the class, and I had made the decision that if I could hypnotize myself and learn a little bit about it, that this is a possibility. Maybe I can do this. So I go to the class, and it's a 3-week class, and 2 hours each night. And the end of the first night, he gave us a little information about it, telling us it's not mind control. The client has complete control during the session. And then at the end of that one class, he hypnotized the class. And I went, okay, this is no different than my meditation. And so I says, I've been doing this all along and just didn't have that name of hypnosis. And I went, okay. So I finished the rest of his course, and then at the end of the course I asked him, where can I go for education? So he gave me some options, and I chose to become certified at the Path Foundation by Dr. Ed Martin. It was in the Kingwood area, and so that was like the beginning on this spiritual journey for me. And then from there it went on to other things I was dealing and involved in, the Reiki, different healing modalities, different energy, but to me, energy is energy.
Right.
So I learned by the book, so to speak, but once you sort of get out there and start practicing, I realized if you just open to Spirit, and it just happens.
And it's really amazing when you go down that road, you open that door, all the things that come in you don't expect, along with it. So
Yeah.
it sounds like you really found so many other things that you weren't necessarily looking for.
That is
and
so
is
true.
that, would you say that the spiritual pilgrimage to John of God was part of that
Oh my.
awakening?
That in itself, the church I was attending, every year they would take a pilgrimage to John of God. And it always sparked an interest. It was almost like my heart would flutter when he would announce it at the pulpit. And in the afternoon they would have the film and Q&A, and so we would talk about it. And I would attend, and I so wanted to go. However, my consciousness kept finding all the reasons not to go. The time, the money, the energy. But then I realized it was so much more than that. And so I didn't go. And then every year. And then on the fourth year, the same announcement. I went to the Q&A, watched the film. And I realized then that it was no longer a choice. I was being led to go.
And calling.
Yeah, it was like, okay, girl, you've just wasted enough time. We're taking you there.
The timing was perfect, I'm sure.
It was perfect, and I still had all the concerns about the cost and the time from work, but I signed up, made the commitment, and then within 2 weeks after making the commitment, I received a cash bonus from my employer. It paid for the trip, all my expenses, and so I just knew, this was the right time. This was the right time.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about this. This is something that you do now, is that correct? You're doing a tour guide pilgrimage down with people to John of God yourself, right?
That's true. On the first trip, I had such a spiritual experience, and I went there with an intention, because they do ask you to prepare yourself and set some intentions. So I did, and they were trivial, but the one that was very meaningful to me is I wanted to have a deeper relationship with God. And that was my main focus, deeper relationship. So during that first trip, they brought to my attention, while I'm going through this they call it spiritual surgery. They brought to my attention something that Spirit showed to me in the 80s. I had a spontaneous regression. I was a passenger in a car driving along with my family. I close my eyes and I go through this tunnel of light, and then I step out into another world. And I'm going, oh God, scared.
Wow. Like a past life regression?
It was a past life spontaneous regression, and I really didn't know what was happening. So I opened my eyes and I looked around. Of course, I'm in the car with my family. And so I closed my eyes again, and there we go. We go through the tunnel, and I just said, Marty, surrender. See what this is about. Because I felt like Spirit really wanted me to see this for whatever reason. And so I witnessed this life, and it was quite painful to see myself, the person that I was, and the acts that I was committing. So then, I carried this burden for 20 years, and I couldn't understand, and I couldn't come to a resolution of peace about it. But as I'm sitting there at the casa in my spiritual surgery, Spirit showed it to me, and I went, oh, no.
I remember this.
I said, oh no, I don't want to go there. I have traveled 8,000 miles for this journey, and I'm here back paddling. And I went, oh. And they said, no, we want you to see the significance of that life, and we want to honor you for your contribution in that life. And they helped me see a different perspective. I hear you say often that when things happen in your life where it doesn't feel really good, many times it's a gift. And the role I played in that life, I was, like I said, it was very uncomfortable, but I was bringing the gift to someone else, so to speak. I was playing the darker side. Yeah. And so they took that experience and changed it for me, and I felt exonerated. I felt free. It was so beautiful. So then I did come home, and but while I was there, they did ask me to write about the experience, and so I did. I wrote my experience about my spiritual experience at the Casa. It's called The Blue Door.
So let's show your book.
Yeah.
So that is your first
My
pilgrimage
first
down there.
My first pilgrimage, and when I had that amazing spiritual experience. So I came home after that.
Can they find that on Amazon?
Yes,
Okay,
you can
great.
find it at Amazon.
Okay.
So when I came home, after about a couple of months, I felt unrest again. And so I felt in my heart that I was supposed to work at the Casa. I was supposed to bring a contribution to the Casa. And I really didn't know in what form that was going to take. So I called the spiritual guide that took me, and she's in Brazil. So when I called her and I told her about this drive and this energy that's leading me again, she says, well, you need to come back. And to become a guide for the Casa, you have to have the permission of the entities. You just can't decide to do this. And I said, okay. So I booked another trip. And that's how it began. I went in front of the entities and I asked, am I to be a spiritual guide for the Casa? And what happens when you're standing in front of John of God who's incorporated with the entities? The entity looks at you as a holographic form. They're seeing your past, your current, present, and your probable future. And they also know if your intentions are pure, the entities. And so I was a little nervous asking it. I felt a little nervous about asking, am I to be a Casa guide? And I got the permission, yes, you're to be a Casa guide.
Great, yeah.
Yeah, so now I am actively taking people to the Casa.
Wonderful. And you have a website for that?
I do. It
What
is, let me get it. It is John of God, spiritualjourney.com.
Great. So if you want to learn, audience, more about that, go ahead and go to that website, and we will post that up as well. But that is something that you're taking other people now down there on their pilgrimage and showing them the way to do that. Is that right?
It's very complicated at the Casa. There's a certain place you need to be if this is your first time visiting, or if it's your second time. And so you need someone to help navigate through the system. So I am doing that. My next trip will be this year, June 25th to July 8th. Very excited. And my hope is that I just want to be present for the people that I go with so that they can have their own spiritual journey.
That's really exciting. I know I, for one, would like to do this. So, because I've never been there. Obviously, I've been to Brazil when I was a child. Lived in the Amazon jungle. It was like a mud hut. Some crazy stuff. But,
Sounds interesting.
my dad had a engineering project down there. But when I first heard about it, when you first talked to me about it, I was really excited about the idea of, I hear about these things, but this is the thing. A lot of people have fear about just like, how do I get started? How do I do this? I don't know where I'm going. It's a different place. But to have somebody, somebody here that's actually going to take you and show you those little steps, it makes it so much easier and you feel braver. So I was more excited. I think even that, that it seemed more possible. So I'm excited for you to.
Thank you. Well,
take this.
what I realized that on my first trip, without my guide, I would have been lost. And allowing someone to help me lead the way and navigate the system allowed me more time to do my spiritual work. I didn't have to worry about, am I in the correct line? Where do I get the blessed water? Where do I get the herbs? And so
you need to have that guide.
You need the guide,
That's
especially
great.
on the first trip. Yes.
So tell us a little bit about moving forward, what is it that you have, if you have anything in the works or a vision, a bigger vision for yourself that you want to share?
I do. I do work in corporate America right now, and with me working, it is difficult to get more than a couple of weeks off to do the guide, to the tour. So my plan is very shortly. This is my plan. Now, Spirit may have a totally different plan for me.
Right.
My plan is to retire very soon, and so then that will give me more time to take several trips. I'd like to, my goal is to take 3 trips in a year.
That would be amazing. And all the energy you're going to collect from that, all the beautiful experiences being with other people for the first time. I just imagine that's going to be a big part of the fun. I was thinking, as far as teaching, I like to teach beginners because I love the newness, the awe, the curiosity, and the questions that often we forget as we go through life. We forget that very simple, mindful state of being. And I was going to say that you're going to get that each time you take new people down there. You get to have that awe all over again. So that's really exciting.
Well, I think I will get as much out of it as the people that that will travel with me. I really do.
That's great. So, your website again is johnofgodspiritualjourney.com, and her book, The Blue Door, is on Amazon. If you'd like to basically find out all about her first pilgrimage and then get some information about maybe going down there to John of God in Brazil with Marti this summer. So thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your life with us.
Thank you.
Is there anything else that you wanted to share coming up for us?
Yes, I do. This Saturday weevening, we're having a film. We're showing a film of John of God, and it's called The Healing. And it won an Angel Award, which I have no idea what an Angel Award is, but it's a documentary of his life and about the Casa and the benefits that people are experiencing and some of the miracles. And that is this Saturday, and the address, I will give you the address, it's 810 Rolling Mill Drive in Sugar Land. So feel free to stop on by. And
what time on Saturday?
It's going to be 4 to 6.
4 to 6, great. So yeah, if you want to do that, come by and you can learn a little bit more about what this pilgrimage is about, and also ask questions and get more information so that you might feel more ready and excited about doing this pilgrimage with Marti. So thank you so much again for coming on our show and sharing with us. Again, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to send those in and we'll see if we can get some answers for you. Otherwise, have a wonderful day. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye for now.